welcome to the channel. I'm Treeckosaurus, and in this video I'll have a look at some Catan Universe game boards and I'll tell you what I do to get my placements right. I have a very systematic approach, so I know what will be the best settlement spots for a specific board, and I'm willing to share this method with you. Placing settlements is often called the most important decision in the game to make. And although I don't necessarily agree with that, I think you win a lot more games if you get them right. I actually improved my gameplay a lot by just writing the script for this video, and I think I can help you a little bit as well. So, although the method works, I'm not claiming like you try this the first time, it works better. You need to practice it a little bit so you don't get timed out and you get all the stuff right. You do that. Maybe it works better the first time, I don't know. But I think overall you can improve your gameplay if you apply this method. So that's enough introduction for today. Let's jump right into the placement strategy.
Before I place down my settlements, I analyze the board as much as possible, using a simple 3-step plan. Step number 1. Combining resources and numbers. What does that even mean? You list a resource, for example ore, and you look at all the numbers that resource has at the board, which are 12, 6 and 8. Step number 2. Find high production spots, and these are the spots that generate a lot of resources on average. I will show you how to do that in a minute. Step number 3. Combine these high production spots you found with potential secondary spots. So you're trying to make a strategy. First you have the high production spots and then you combine it with a secondary spots to make a strategy to win the game. When we take a look at this board, we see that the ore is all at the bottom of the map, while the ore port is at the top. So it's difficult to combine the strategy of the ore gain and the ore port. Also, the numbers are 12, 6 and 8. So there are two really good numbers which you want to settle on for sure, everybody does, and the 12 which will be barely used. So if you can get a settlement on ore, you are set for ore gain for the game. The map contains 4 wheat tiles and 3 of them are clustered at the top of the map. The port is nearby a 9, 10, 5 spot with the other resources you need for a settlement, but wheat is quite rare at this board. 9, 4, 3 and 11 aren't the best resource gainers, and the clustering of the wheat tiles makes it difficult for players to get good spots out of it. Next up is sheep. The sheep tiles are a little bit less rare than the wheat tiles, but 9, 4, 3 and 10 aren't the greatest numbers. The sheep port is close to a lot of the sheep tiles, so that could be a good strategy. 8, 5, 11 and 2 are the numbers for lumber, and I expect that lumber won't be a good trade resources on this board, because the good numbers also have decent numbers around them, so they will be picked. What do I mean with good trade resource? I mean with that people won't be looking for them in trades. So you can't get rare resources from their hands by offering lumber. The port won't be of much use, however. Brick has pretty solid numbers overall with the 6, 5 and 2. They will be picked most likely, and what I said about trade resources also applies to brick. Now we know what the board looks like, we look at the spots we actually want, the high production spots. First we take a look at where the best numbers are, which are the 6, 9, 5 and 8. Then we decide what will be the rarest resource on this board, which are, in my opinion, the sheep and the wheat. They only have one really often rolled number, so it makes spots using these numbers a little bit better, because players will be looking to trade for these resources. The high production spots are the ones with multiple often rolled numbers, or overall okay numbers with rare resources. In this case, wheat and sheep. Or always has a special place because you need it to build cities. On this board, white is placing first and wants to take one of these high production spots. You gotta assume the other spots will most likely be picked by other players. I think the 9, 5, 10 spot is the best to pick here, because the 4, 9, 11 spot with double wheat will most likely still be open, unless blue takes the 3, 10, 8 spot at the bottom of the map. However, if he does, it's very likely one of the high producing spots will be left open for white to take with the second settlement. If that somehow doesn't work out, you can also pick one of the leftover spots at the edges of the map. With the 4, 9, 11 spot, it makes sense to point your road towards the wheat board. Blue gave consideration to these 5 spots for its first settlement, but ultimately decided to take the 3, 10, 8 spot with its roads pointed towards the sheep board. Blue thinks this spot has the most secondary spots that work well with this spot, and it only has rare resources. Red is looking at the 4 high producing spots and decided the spot that works well with the 3 other spots is the best pick. The 6, 4, 11 is the only one with sheep, so you force green into taking a not high production spot. You point the road towards the coast because the 6, 11 free spot won't be open, and the 4 sheep with 3, 1 port has more value than a 12, 11 spot. Green builds on the 6, 11 free with his first settlement, so he can get sheep. He points his road towards the 6, 5, 12 because green thinks it is the only possibly open spot. Probably not though, but you still do that. Green builds his second settlement on the 8, 10, 4 because it has good resource gain and completes all 5 resources. The order of building makes it so green has a free road. Green also knows the circled spots will be taken since many players lack wheat gain. Red needs more wheat to get a decent development card strategy going, and the general resource gain of 6, 9, 3 beats that of 4, 9, 11, so he takes the 6, 9, 3. So blue also goes for a development card strategy and points his road towards the 9, 2 spot, since he can't build at other spots. The white house will be built at the 6, 5, 12 spot. If you believe no wheat equals defeat, I recommend you watch this video. Also, you can build a third settlement on the 11 wheat tile or get the 3 to 1 port on the 9, 12 spot. You can point your road to whatever you prefer, and I think the 11 wheat tile is still worth it, to be honest. Let's apply the same method to another map, but then a lot faster. We have our 3-step plan. For ore we have the 2 and 9 next to each other, the 4 at the top, the port at the bottom. Wheat, some great numbers, 6, 5 and 12 at the top, close to a wheat port, and the 6 at the bottom of the map. Sheep also has fantastic numbers, 8, 9, 5 and 3. Sheep port is not that relevant, to be honest. Lumber is pretty rare on this board. 10 and 11 next to each other, 10 next to a lumber port at the east coast of the map, and a 3 at the bottom of the map. Brick is more average in terms of numbers with 8, 4 and 11. With the port at an okay spot. The strong numbers are clustered on this map, so because lumber is so rare, you should really value lumber gain in your placement decisions. Alright, the high production spots are the 5, 8, 10 at the west coast, the 6, 5, 9 with the double wheat gain, pretty much every spot around the 5 wheat, and some spots with rare resources that will be taken as secondary spots. And because the most great spots are next to each other, so that makes these spots most likely to be taken. With the first spot, white takes the 6, 5, 9 spot. With the road aimed in a way, white can go to the wheat board. There won't be many decent spots available when white picks its second settlement, so this spot has the flexibility to either go for a development card strategy or to combine it with other great resources. Blue selects the spot blue thinks will get all the resource gain, with overall very solid numbers. Road towards the coast with the lumber port. Red knows it will get 2 of these 4 spots and decides that the 5, 8, 10 spot is too good to give up on. Red has hopes of getting 6, 9, 12 at the bottom of the map and wants a 3 to 1 port to go alongside that. Green has different plans and takes the 6, 9, 2 and the 4, 8, 3 respectively, so he can collect all resources and win the game with development cards. Red is now in a tough situation and picks the 9, 10, 11 to not be locked out of ore. His plan is to build on the 6, 11, 3 spot as soon as possible so he can get wheat. Blue takes the 8, 4, 3 to get decent overall resource gain, and blue tries to double up on ore with the 4, 11 as a third settlement. White, on the other hand, takes the free road to either go to the 9-4 or brick spot or the wheat port, and the 5 wheat makes the wheat port game plan a lot better. I would personally build on a wheat port first and hopefully get to the 9-4 later, but maximizing wheat gain doesn't sound bad either. For the third and last board, I have designed a challenge, and that is to place the 8 settlements and roads on the board. The winner gets 3 copper in King of Catan, and I feel generous today, so maybe you just get 1 copper for just trying. I will still present the first 2 steps, but you gotta come up with the strategy for the 4 players. Okay, there we go. Similar to the first board, ore has some pretty good numbers, and 1 useless one. The big difference is the ore port being relatively close to the ore. Wheat has the 9, 10, 11 and 3, and the wheat port somewhat nearby the wheat tiles. 3 of the 4 sheep tiles are clustered at the top of the map, with a sheep port nearby. 8, 4, 11 and 4 aren't the worst numbers, so you could make stuff happen here. The lumber tiles are pretty strong and are located in usable spots. The port is close to a 6 lumber, and the other lumbers are 10, 6 and 12. The brick numbers are 5, 3 and 9 and are overall pretty good. They are nearby other often rolled numbers and therefore likely to be taken. If we take a look at the often rolled numbers, we see the great spots are located in 3 sectors. It could theoretically go like this, but I don't see that happening, because players don't want to give each other great spots, and because one adjustment changes things up. If players take the 5, 9, 10 at the bottom of the map instead of the 6, 9, 5 slightly above that, the spots drastically change. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something from it. This 3-step plan helped me gain a lot of ELO over the past few days, like 70 in 4 days, I believe. So that's what was the reason for making this video. I hope you can apply this in your game and yeah, improve with it. It helped me a ton. Also, I think it's quite a lot of fun to look at the game this way. We often do that in the competitive Catan group. Like we get a board and we all give our opinions on how these settlements and roads should be placed. I hope you would like to try out the challenge, and I also hope I can reward you in King of Catan. Awesome tournament so far. We're about to play the first few matches, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you in the community. Okay, that was about it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good day.